community volunteer, and I just working with Heather and several of my colleagues from the neighborhood and friends, and also with Mr. Ikaika Rodenhurst to get this meeting together so that we can move forward towards a resolution of the Kahikini bridge closure and the connectivity in our general Wailea and Hakalau areas. I am going to serve as the facilitator, and I'm going to try and keep this thing moving quickly. So if you start getting redundant, I may cut you off, hopefully gently. And the intent of this meeting actually is to sort of get all the various players together in terms of the community representatives so that they can, their voice can be heard. But really the intent is to work with our public officials in the various agencies and our representatives so that we can come up with a plan of action of where to go to most effectively and efficiently move towards a plan of action. And so that is the main objective. So with that, I know we talked about introductions, but everybody has posted, I believe, their introduction or their affiliations in the group chat. So we're going to dispense with introductions, save some time. So right now we'll just jump into sort of the background. And so I'd like to kind of ask anyone that was behind the decision to close the bridge, and just briefly to give us a background that the community may not be aware of. And so I'm going to, I guess, either Ikaika, if you want to share about that. And then I know Rob from the HDOT probably has some insights, or at least his staff. So, and then we'll follow that with John Cross and Susan Forbes to kind of give us a sort of a real brief background on some of the history in that particular area regarding the infrastructure and roads and stuff like that. So Ikaika?
All right, and mahalo, Brad, and mahalo everyone for being here today to discuss this. It's important that we are transparent with the community as what's going on and addressing what happened. So to my research into this, it was the decision of DPW to close the bridge, citing the recommendations of the FHWA findings and of the current status of Kahakini Bridge. As far as the details into that, I think that Rob with DOT can provide a little bit more details. If there's anything else at this time I need to cover for this one, Brad, is there anything else I need to elaborate on? I think I covered for that portion, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
That's good.
Rob, I'll open up to you and DOT.
Hi, so looking at the critical findings report, it looks like when originally built, there was kind of like a waterfall that was downstream of the bridge. And over time, that erosion of that stream has now moved and migrated up to now it's almost in upstream side of the bridge. And that erosion continues to undermine basically the footing that holds the bridge up. And to the point where a lot of the footing is underneath it is kind of exposed. And so there is a risk of a catastrophic failure. It could just completely go at all at one time. So I think that's why the county has made a recommendation to basically shut it down, because it will not give you warning. It's something that will just possibly go at one time.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ikaika and Rob. So John and Susan.
Okay, I could start. The Kaiviki Homestead #3 and Hakalau Iki homesteads were all developed about 1914 through 17. There was, allowance for roads, government roads through both of these areas. There's only one government road that connects Hakalau Iki homesteads with Kaiviki 3, and that is Kana House Road. There was another road, Malka, but it was a private road. This is easement P5A that crosses Mr. Ozaki's land. Ozaki House Road, Fishbone Road, big heavy bridge across to Ahakini at that, but it's private. And since the plantation has closed, the landowners on either side of that bridge have effectively blocked that access. So there is no alternate on private land. There's only Kana. Now, cane trucks used to come into this area on both bridges. And it's important to recognize that the bridge under or substructure is quite significant. Big I-beams, cross braces, concrete footing. It's the decking that is the issue. The plantation guys would have double and triple decking, big 4x8s, 4x12s with creosote black lumber. Cane trucks would cross these bridges at ease. But after the plantation closed, Kana Bridge was repaired. And I don't know by who, but it's a single deck. It's just one sheet. And that is our issue, is that if you maybe had a 2 or 3 deck on Kana Bridge, you might be able to get more capacity. And of course, down there at the bottom, as you exit Kaiviki 3 onto Old Mamalahoa, is the bridge that was closed. And if that got repaired, then a lot of issues get resolved. I think that's enough from me.
Okay, thanks, John. Susan, do you have anything to add in terms of, history or?
I would just say that I have a lot of general history about the bridges in this area on the website hakalau.home.com, and a lot of information about the impact of flowing water undermining the foundation of our bridges. So it's a good educational piece, but not important for this discussion.
Right.
So that's all.
Okay. Thanks, Susan. I'm gonna, at some point down the road, it might be helpful to, I think Heather has some maps that we might be able to pull up as we talk about specific areas and even possibly the larger area. In your handouts, we had a large map showing what John was talking about. And the reason why I want to bring up at this point for its importance is that and then the reason also for having so many agency representatives present is that as we move forward, it really is an opportunity to sort of look at the big infrastructure pictures. And as we know, not just Hamakua, but the rest of the island, we just happen to have a whole lot of bridge crossings and stream crossings because of the gulches. And we all know that the bridges at some point will need repair and reconstruction or repair in any case, and in which case that will require closure of the bridges, at least partially. And so the need for alternative detour routes are very important in terms of just connectivity and disaster preparedness and resilience. And so I think this presents the opportunity to sort of look at those things in conjunction so that we're not just being reactive to when disasters happen or landslides or what have you that close off these routes that provide a lifeline to the surrounding areas. So with that, thank you, John and Susan and Rob and Ikaika. Let's move on to community impacts. And in this case, what I'm going to do is call upon the various other community representatives that can briefly share some of the concerns from their area, specific areas. So I'm going to start with Bill Foss for Connor Road, and then Chaz Cavadoni for Kaviki Homestead Roads, and then Chad Walker and maybe Virginia Butner for, you know, sort of neighborhood watch cert input and concerns. So Bill?
All right. Prior to the detour, Connor Road was kind of your typical quiet single lane.
Hey, excuse me, Bill, can I interrupt? Yeah, your mic.
Not too good.
Yeah, it's not very loud, so I don't know if
I'm not sure if I can get it to go any louder.
we can hear you, but it's, you know,
I'll
okay.
try to speak up.
Okay.
Like I say, prior to the detour, it was a quiet, typical quiet country road, maybe 20 vehicles on it a day. The residents felt safe walking along the road, walking their pets. The neighborhood kids played along it. Now the traffic is up into the hundreds of vehicles a day, so significant difference, and that has changed things. It's also somewhat of a safety hazard since some of the new traffic continues to travel at an excess of speed in spite of the recently placed speed limit signs. But the biggest concern of the Connor Road residents is that with no designated hardened areas to pull out of the way, and the increasing traffic means there's greater number of times that opposing traffic is on the road at the same time. And without having these designated areas to pull off, people are driving on the soft shoulder. Driving on the soft shoulder is causing damage to the edge of the road already. It's starting to crack. There's parts that have chipped off. It's also damaging the soft shoulder with a lot of ruts. But the biggest concern is underneath that soft shoulder are all of the Connor Road residents' water lines. And those lines were never designed to be driven over it to this extent. Knowing that one of the goals may be to try and increase the weight limit of the bridge, having heavier and heavier vehicles without putting any mitigation efforts into this is just going to increase the level of lack of safety and increase the potential damage. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. And Chaz?
Yeah, Chaz and the residents of Kaiwiki Homestead Road want to thank the County Department of Public Works for jumping into action post our early December emergency meeting. Since that meeting, the Department of Work improved the signage, road markers, and raised the bridge limit from 6 tons to 15 tons, which was a great help. Today, the community hopes to see an agreed plan of action on 3 fronts. 1, to improve the road drainage on the road in Limbo, just to get us through the winter rainy season and beyond. 2, somehow come up with a solution that allows critical construction and property maintenance work to continue. We need to pass concrete and rock trucks as well as building supplies. This is essential to the people, residences of Kaiwiki Homestead Road. And third of all, we need to develop a plan for opening up access to Kaiwiki Homestead Road via Old Malama Highway. And to facilitate the understanding of all the players around the table today, county, state, and feds, the community provided a list of 20 questions in advance of the meeting. The questions are listed in the community handout that Heather released a few days back. And we look forward to going through those questions at some point. And we thank you for an opportunity to moving forward.
All right, thanks, Chaz. Chad?
Yeah, hi, Chad Walker, and I represent the Neighborhood Watch. And of course, there's obvious reasons with only having Connor Road open for the residents of Kaiwiki Homestead and for all the residents for response times, but also even ambulances, fire trucks, any of those vehicles exceeding the weight limits of the bridge. That's a main concern. Part of Neighborhood Watch is not only crime prevention, but it's also disaster response. There's a systemic problem that's happening in the Hakalau area. It's not just, I mean, Connor Road is the bridge is the main focus right now, but we have the largest and tallest bridge with no bypass. That's Hakalau Bridge. And now you have no bypass to the Koli Bridge. There needs to be a long-term, we need to start with Connor Road, but there needs to be a long-term plan to fix both of these systemic issues that are affecting both, mainly the disaster response to the issue. I'll be happy at any questions, but that's all I have.
Virginia, do you have anything to add? I know you're part of the CERT team for the area.
No, I think Chad summarized it well for our neighborhood. The only thing I would say is there's general concern in the CERT community, and I assume civil defense for the issues that we're talking about here. And so that's the only comment I have. I think it's a far-ranging problem.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. And then now we'll jump over to the next part of the agenda, current status update. And so primarily, we're going to call upon Ikaika and anyone else that has input on the bridge closure and where we're currently at. And then I think, you know, as we discuss some of these things, we'll probably, you know, kind of segue into some of the solutions or alternatives. And then we can, anyway, yeah, I think what I'll do is for the part of the agenda under the bridge closure, Ikaika, and then if you want to talk regarding the road embankment and the detour routes, you know, you can hit it together or you can hit it individually. It's up to you.
Okay, and then would it be okay to answer some of these questions? I think they tie into these topics right here, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. So first, you're on the bridge closures, and I'm assuming this is in response to the Kotekole County bridge closure and the Ahakini bridge closure, correct?
Correct.
So those two bridges remain closed at this time. Regarding Kotekole bridge for the county, just because I know there might be some confusion with the main highway Kotekole bridge. This is the county Kotekole bridge that is closed. One of the questions that was asked was, did DPW release the engineering contract for Kotekole bridge repair? At this time, we have selected a design consultant. We are waiting for allotment of funds to pursue this. And basically let's see what I have here. Yeah, so we're actively pursuing this. We're working with the various departments of the county to get moving on this. The Kotekole bridge repair schedule, the schedule submitted here with 14 months for engineering and 4 months for construction is a little bit tight. And I only say that because there are always unforeseen circumstances that happen, and we do our best to meet this deadline. But realistically, the overall schedule to get Kotekole bridge fully repaired is about 2 years. I would say probably at the most right now. I could give that as a pretty safe estimate. Can we accelerate the schedule? And like I said, yeah, the schedule is an estimate, and we are doing our best to expedite it. So this is something we're actively pursuing within our engineering division, and we understand the concerns to the safety and the access to the public, and we are doing our best right now. What is the plan for securing the construction contractor? At this point in time, it's still in the design process, so we haven't gotten to that point yet. And when we do, we will definitely update the community. Who is responsible in the project? We have Alan Simeone within the engineering division that is currently responsible for that project, and he is pursuing that. And are all necessary repair funds secured? As I mentioned earlier, we are waiting for the allotment, so we're just waiting on that right now. And from what I understand, this is tied in with FEMA recovery funds as well. So we have talked with FEMA recently about it, and keeping them updated as well. As far as Ahakini, for that bridge closure, our current plan is we are in the process of hiring a consultant to look at the repairs to the bridge. This one is not tied into FEMA funding, and engineering division is working on this right now. If Connor Road becomes impassable, can county allow limited access to the bridge prior to repair? At this point in time, no. Like we discussed earlier on, there's a recommendation to close the bridge because of the critical status of it and what could happen at a moment's notice. It is not safe right now. Can county take over liability for using the bridge not lower load limit? We are currently responsible and liable, and that's why we made the decision to close it due to the emergency basically the critical findings on the bridge that it is not safe to use at this time. I think that's all I have for bridge closure. Are we taking questions on bridge closure at this time, or would you like to reserve those for later, Brad?
Yeah, I think, yeah, if people have questions, put it in chat, and then we can circle around to that as we move into, sort of specifics in terms of what solutions.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that might be more efficient, and you can continue on.
Okay, sounds good. Next, road embankment repairs. For the old highway embankment repairs, we just followed up with FEMA a few days ago. Currently, there is a change in scope being prepared and submitted by the engineering division for that. Will the community be allowed to travel past the embankment prior to repair? Not at this time. And again, Alan Simeon is the lead on this project. And are all necessary repair funds secured? Yes, they were obligated as of December 2nd, 2020. Again, I guess I'll field questions for embankment following this. Detour route and impact mitigation. So for the current detour route with Kana Road, I understand that this is our kind of backup alternate route. What is required to increase the bridge load limit? We'd have to basically create do the whole assessment of the area, just like we are doing for Kahakini, just like we're doing for Kole Kole. It would require a structural engineer's determination, and that would be a process to start that wouldn't give us any immediate impacts at this time, and basically would cut off our last alternate access in the immediate vicinity. I know it's kind of a detour at this time, so I wouldn't want to impact the community even more with having them detour somewhere else if there is even availability. In the short term, for options for accommodating heavy loads, we can discuss that as far as possible solutions when we ask the questions. Currently we are pursuing improvements to Kana Road. I had engineering take a look at it yesterday. They're coming back with their recommendations. Our highways division has provided a recommendation for how they can pave the area and make the road a little bit more accessible at this time. The intention is basically, we understand that there's more traffic than before on this road, and we're trying to accommodate that while we're waiting on these other bridge repairs. The intention isn't to make this a thoroughfare. It is just to address the current needs of that road. We are not pursuing increasing the load limit of Kana Road Bridge because, like I said, this is a alternative access at this time while we repair Kahakini and Kole Kole County Bridge. So we are actively pursuing that. We will be improving the signage for that area as well, just to make it as safe as possible at this time. See, what else do we have for? I think that covered detour road impact mitigation. If there's any further questions, I guess we can answer those when we field questions. And then finally, for mid and long-term concerns, we want to make sure that we access these repairs and get these done as soon as possible. So we are actively pursuing it. This does have my immediate concern, and we are doing our best to keep our timelines. For the DPW side, we're basically actively pursuing repairs of Kole Kole County Bridge and Kahakini Bridge. As far as DOT's schedule, I'll leave it up to DOT to provide information on any schedule for mid and long-term concerns. But that's all I have at this time, and I guess we'll be fielding questions after this. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ikaika. Rob or Harry, do you guys have anything to add regarding, the larger Kole Kole Bridge and the Hakalau Bridge, as part of that question of the broader infrastructure repairs for the bridge, so that it can be sort of, obviously, it has to work in conjunction with the resolution of the old Mamalo Highway, including, obviously the smaller Kolikoli Bridge, the Kahakini Bridge, and the embankment repairs. So yeah, any input on that?
Harry, you want me to take it and then you can jump in? So we have the two bridges, both Hakalau and Kolikoli. Our priority is we're going to probably start on Hakalau Bridge first. And this is a repair, a fairly significant amount of repair, take about 18 months to do. Our current schedule, we're looking at probably starting construction probably around June of 2023. Taking 18 months will take us to about December of 2024. Because of the way it is, and it's because it's such a long time, the approach we're trying to take right now is to do half a lane at a time. So it's not going to be detoured, it's going to be probably traffic controlled. I think in the past, we've even put up like some signals and things to let traffic go in alternating directions. And if there's a catastrophic issue that, you have to emergency detour, you can use these smaller local roads. But for long term, right, you have these, like you guys have going up Kaiviki, you have other types of heavier vehicles, you have emergency vehicles and things like that. So for both Kolikoli and Hakalau, we're looking at doing one lane closures and alternating traffic. Kolikoli's schedule, we are trying to schedule it to start right after we finish up Hakalau. So that one, construction planning to start around June 2025, taking 18 months to finish off about December of 2026. So if you have any questions, let us know.
Hey, Brad, I just want to jump in real quick. This is Chad Walker. There is no bypass road to Hakalau Bridge. Just want to make sure everybody knows that. There was a landslide. The road's been closed for 15 years. Nobody has ever cleared it off. There is a bypass. It's just nobody's opened it up. So I just want to make sure that we know that there is a bypass to Hakalau Bridge, which would need to be opened prior to the start of construction on Hakalau Bridge, that has been closed for 10 plus years.
Okay. Any other questions before we jump into Chaz or Tom? Did you guys have anything to add for the midterm and long-term concerns?
Yeah, this is Chad. And again, I respect and understand things take a long time. I'm an Army engineer, and I've done bridge work all over the world and assessments of bridges, and it's totally different than civilian. I understand that. But I do know that there are rapid deployable bridges that can be set up over damaged bridges that have huge weight class abilities that can be put in place for a number of years until the time comes to fix those bridges. The military has excess bridges that they're trying to give away that the county, I'm sure, could, working through the National Guard, could ascertain to place up that will meet all of the codes for vehicles to pass. My question is, have we thought about possibly trying, especially for these critical routes that have no bypass routes in case of an emergency or national disaster, have we thought about trying to find some of these temporary bridges that can be installed over the existing bridge that would allow for safe transport until they can do the proper fixes for either one of the bridges? And I'll stop there.
Okay. Thanks, Chad. I think it's a good segue into potential solutions. And so I guess that, yeah, let's jump into the potential solutions. And, the first one being, obviously the highest priority is life safety. And so, just in terms of access for, fire ambulance and in the case of Kana Road and, well, actually everywhere, just pedestrians, because actually, especially now with the pandemic, a lot of people are not having to, are using the road to, take walks and just get out, since people are not being able to move as freely. And so I guess, in terms of those questions, so I know that if anybody has questions, I guess now would be the time to bring them up in terms of what you heard in terms of the status updates. And then we can try and hone in on, I think, really what we're trying to do at this point is hone in on the plan of action. So what are the next steps and who's going to be responsible, timing. I heard a lot of things about we're working on it, and that's great. But I guess what we would like to do is, like have a little bit more specificity in terms of, the timeframes and what things are being done to secure and have, I guess, finite deadlines, or at least the beginnings of a schedule and a plan to, to tie it down to the specific tasks in support of the larger resolution. So, does anybody have any questions, I guess, or, in terms
Brad?
of, yeah.
Yeah, so this is Chad. So they've, our DPW has already talked about that there is a plan in place, and that is set. And that is going to fix the problem. And thank you very much for getting the Hakalau Bridge and the Kolikoli Bridge on the plan and pushing forward, and it takes time. I think that the concern is, especially for life safety or for anything, is what can we do for temporary solutions better than adding a 10 to 15 minute extra ride to get to these people's houses for fire safety and also for farms, for agricultural, for their business. It is a route, but it is very inconvenient. And also we don't have bypass roads. So I think that the question is potential solutions is, has DPW I see we have somebody from the House of Representatives here. Has anybody thought about, I know that we have a disaster plan for this county. I know that we have access to temporary bridges. I know that for a fact. I used to sit in Diamond Head for the Army. I know that the plan's out there. How can we as a group work to find some temporary resources to shore up those bridges for use until we can get the permanent fixes for them? I guess that is my question. And I know that we have a disaster relief fund that can be tapped into that will, not for money, but will allow equipment. And that's to get use of the bridges. So I'll stop there.
So, I guess my question, in regards to that would be, specifically to Ikaika in terms of, working on the Kana as an alternative route, the Kana route, the life safety from on the ground in terms of the shoulders, the safety of the, we appreciate the, the posted speed limits and the markers. At the same time, I know that it's very much concerned about the infrastructure that's already there, the water, which is serving several homes in the area, but also, the financial aspects in terms of the bridge. We have different opinions on, like what kind of upgrade to fortify that route. But at the same time, I think most of us are in favor of trying to, just restoring the old Mamalahoa route to that. So I guess relative to that, the question is how fast and what kind of temporary or other solutions that we could possibly look at as you secure and procure your consultants for that, or in-house.
Yeah, Brad, thank you for that. And thank you, Chad. I will look into what we can do with temporary bridges. I think that's a good idea. I just definitely have to pursue that before I can give a answer with confidence of is that something we can do. But I will be looking into it for sure. As far as what we're doing with Kana Road and that access to Old Mamalahoa, we're doing our best right now to address the issues on Kana Road. Like I said, this isn't meant to be a long-term fix. It's basically what can we do to hold this over while we address the main issues of Kolikoli County Bridge and Kahakini, and then access to Old Mamalahoa. So as we are going through that process, and I understand it does take time, and we are doing our best to expedite it. We want to do what we can in the meantime to make sure Kana Road is safe as we can possibly make it at this time. And that's what we're doing. As far as giving a definitive schedule, there's a lot lot of scheduling in place with that, as we just, like I said, we just assessed it as of yesterday with our engineering division, waiting on their recommendations and working with our highways division on what we can do to get out there and schedule our paving, our crews and everything. So at this time, I cannot give a definitive on when we will show up there, but I can give an update at either our next meeting or as soon as it's made available with the engineering recommendations on how we improve Connor Road. And then as far as these updates with Old Highway, the Old Mamaloa Highway embankment, I can get back to you on that as far as what is our timeline and what is our current schedule on that. And as far as Kotakole Bridge and Kahakini Bridge, those are our timelines right now. Like I said, we have about 18 months to 2 years before we can estimate having a complete repairs done to Kotakole for County Bridge. And then for Kahakini, it's looking like the permitting process and getting a engineer assessment done will take up to about 2 years before we can actually get those repairs underway. So that's our current timeline. And those are estimates, making sure that everything's in place and there's no unforeseen circumstances, because until we actually assess it, we cannot give a definitive timeline. That's what I have right now. Is there any other timelines you need that I can maybe provide at this time?
Well, what comes to mind for me is in terms of the procurement, the design portion, I know you got to have an assessment, but so my question is that we've known this for a while since the closure that we need to get going on that. So have we made progress on, are you going to go out to just the selected roster? Or are you going to, how long is that going to take? And because we've already had quite a bit of time since the closure, which was end of October. So I guess I want to, I want to tie those things down, because those things need to be done rather than just, just in-house trying to figure out, or the procurement. Where is that for those various components?
So for Kolikole Bridge, we already have secured a design consultant. I don't have that information on exactly what is right in front of me, but we have secured for Kolikole Bridge. So that's why that timeline is a little bit more secure. Like I said, we're waiting on allotment of funds for that. For Kahakini, we're in the process of hiring a consultant. We are going through our procurement procedures and going off of the list. So that one should be a little more quick, but this one looks to be at this time fully county funded, and so that's also part of the process of making sure that this is something we can do and we are pursuing at this time. Okay. So that's why I give you that timeline of it's about 2 years to go through the assessment and the assessment process and the proper permitting for this.
No,
like I said, that is
that's not construction. That's just
correct. This is basically within those 2 years, we should have a plan ready to go and out to bid for that and going through that process. So it doesn't include. I can't give a further timeline because we don't know the extent, how extensive these repairs are going to be. So to give you a timeline on the construction, it's not accurate at this time. So that's why I give you that 2 year timeline
for the assessment and permitting.
Yes.
Boy, that, it seems like, if there's any way of expediting the assessment, because, it's a disaster, life safety type of issue. And so my hope is that, there's some way, and then, and if we can, with disaster preparedness or whatever to expedite that, because, this is not just a Hamakua issue. I think this is an island issue too that you're going to have to deal with. And so we're hoping that, it can be used as a template, but it seems like 2 years just to assess it before you even, start on the design, is because, 4 months or expedited design process after the assessment.
No, sorry, let me clarify that. It's not 2 years before we design. It's 2 years, including the assessment, the design, the permitting, and then ready to start construction is going to
Okay.
be after that 2 years. So then let me clarify that. And again, this 2 years is an estimate. Maybe it might be more straightforward than anticipated. That's why it's an estimated timeline.
Okay. I guess the other question that I have, and other people feel free to chime in, is the intent to handle the old Mamalahoa route, which means the 2 bridges plus the embankment concurrently, so that we can at least try and, since it's out, it's not passable. Is the intent to try and get those things done at the same time so that they can be worked on, in concert, so that we don't have one and then the other, because it's not useful except if we can get to, Kaibiki Homestead Road from one way or the other.
Yeah, and so actually it's three projects we're working on. One is the Kolikole Bridge, the county bridge. One is Kahakini Bridge, and the third is the embankment for Old Mamalahoa Highway. So the Kolikole Bridge repairs and the Old Mamalahoa embankment, those are currently being pursued right now. I don't have the timeline for the embankment in front of me right now, but like I said, with Kolikole Bridge, we do have a change in scope that is being submitted by our engineer in charge, that Alan Simeon, and sorry, I jumped on that one. That is the embankment. We have a change in scope, so that's what's being prepared. That's why I don't have an exact timeline, but we do have a design consultant. We're waiting for the allotment of funding for the Kolikole Bridge. So that one is we have a design consultant selected. We're getting ready to go on that one. And that one should take 2 years to completion of repairs. That means design, construction, and ready to open. That's the estimated timeline. Of course, construction and design, there might be some hiccups here and there, but we're making sure that we're expediting as quick as possible. So that 18 months to 2 years is a timeline that is giving us an estimated ceiling, and we're hoping to work within that and expedite it as quick as possible. So then that's for Kolikole Bridge.
Okay, so the other question in terms of the allotments, just for other people's, is the money secured for the department, or do you still need additional funding? We're waiting for money from FEMA? I guess since we have, Rob folks and these other folks that, are the agency gets, the Fed money gets passed through. Do you need assistance or help? And if Rob guys have any, insights onto that, please help us figure out ways. Yeah.
Well, we are going through the FEMA process for Kolikole Bridge repair and for the old highway embankment. For Kahakini, we do not have federal funds for that, and we are pursuing that with our county funds. So those three are being actively pursued at the same time. So it's not like we're waiting, one's waiting on the other. They're separate, and they're being pursued all at once. Rob, if you have any other information, I'll open up to you. But as far as federal funding for this, I don't have anything more from my side.
Yeah, I think the FEMA funds are available due to the storm that came through. Yeah, that's why they pursued FEMA fundings back then. Kahakini was not a damage resulting of a storm, and also it's not on our federal system, so federal funds really are not available.
For these, okay.
I have a quick question then for you, Ikaika. Is that part of the 2-year length of time to get to shovel ready for Kahakini? Is the funding question?
That is a concern that we have, that there may be concerns with funding, but we are pursuing it, and we are trying to, again, that's why there's a 2-year timeline. We have to look at what the the assessment is, what kind of repairs are recommended, and what our current budget is at that time. And that's where that 2-year timeline comes into play.
All right. Yeah, keep me in the loop on that aspect of it, please. And then I have just a couple questions that came through the chat. Is there any kind of maintenance schedule for Kana Road?
Yes, well, to an extent, and that's tied into what I said earlier about these improvements to Kana Road, where we intend to do a little bit of paving down there to make to kind of help out with the road and the current traffic flow. So after we got our assessment yesterday from engineering, we're going to take a look at what we can get out as far as recommendations within the week, and then see where that falls in the schedule for highways as far as maintaining that road. So at this time, there's no definitive schedule because we are intending to fit in as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Chaz. I wanted to basically speak up for the residents of Kaibiki Homestead Road. I suspect myself and other residences, once they hear the current proposed schedules, are going to be very disappointed. And the most positive thing I heard to help out was Chad Walker's recommendations regarding these temporary bridges. With the schedules you guys are discussing, I really think we should pursue that. And then the second point I wanted to make was I suggested, or I listed 3 fronts that the community of Kaibiki Homestead Road wanted action on. The first one was improving road drainage to get us through the winter rainy season. I think this is an easy win for all of you, especially Department of Public Works, to execute. We have community members that have stepped to the plate and said they can create some water runoffs in some very key places that will take most of the road water coming down Kaibiki Homestead Road and divert it before it even hits Kana. And then we need to work with the second owner right as you turn onto the road in Limbo, going towards the bridge from KWR, and work with that owner to establish a couple more runoffs there. So I suspect with just a few days of county road crew effort, we could eliminate the major concern of road damage due to winter rainy season runoff. So can you jump to the plate on that one like you did the other work?
To address that question, that is part of that engineering assessment of yesterday. I requested our engineering division to make sure that we take a look at the drainage in the area and what can we do when we come down and pave the roads, what other maintenance issues we can do at the same time. That way, we're not having to come back multiple times. We can get it all done at one shot. That's where this engineering assessment ties into the highways maintenance work.
Has the team sat down with the resident who's willing and able to allow you to divert water across his road property? Please, why don't you have a walk by with that resident and see how he can help you out? Because it's a really easy fix once you walk the street with them. Can we get some type of commitment to do that?
I'll bring it up to the team with engineering and see. Can you kind of give me some follow-up information to send that over to myself? I'll have that contact.
Yeah, and CC me too, please, Chaz, for stuff like that. That's part of my role here is to help coordinate community involvement when folks are willing to help out. Obviously we need to obey all of the applicable laws and whatnot, but I certainly want to help facilitate if we can. I think all of us as community members need to get more involved in the solutions. Ikaika, I did have one other question that came through. Do you, as DPW, do you put construction schedules online, or are there ways for people to keep track of projects in a public forum?
We are working on that actively right now to make sure that we can provide our schedules. As far as the specific project schedules, it's to my understanding that is not easily accessible at this time. So we're working on providing a way to access that while adhering to all the laws and rules and regulations on that. So I guess at this time we're working on it and it's not readily available.
So for the time being, if folks had questions about timeline, what's the best way to access that information? Just email your department or?
Yes, yes. So for now, please email DPW and we will respond and get the information we can.
I think, you know what we'll do, you know, just to make it easy for you guys, so you're not just inundated by, you know, everybody. I think what we'll do is probably, you know, like what we have been doing is trying to, you know, consolidate all the questions, timeframes, and then send you guys a, you know, a list of those questions that we want to get information on as you guys develop the schedules and approaches. And then we can help you, you know, get that back out to the community so it's a lot more efficient, and you guys can focus on getting the job done, if that's helpful. Let's see. I'm going through some of this, some of the questions.
While you're looking at questions, this is Virginia. I just wanted to mention that if a temporary bridge is a possibility, you know, Homestead Road is a 2-lane paved road. Getting a temporary bridge in to allow people to use that would certainly take the pressure off of Connor Road, and would also provide an alternate route while Connor Road is being repaired. So I'm just supporting what Chad said about looking into that. I think it's very viable.
What temporary bridge are you talking about on?
I'm talking about our road closure at the bottom of Homestead Road, the bridge. If we can put a temporary bridge there.
Kahakini and Kole Kole?
Yeah, Homestead is a great road. People just can't get to it. Whereas Connor Road is honestly very terrible road to drive down. And very hard to use. And I can't imagine what it is now. I haven't been up there lately, but I would think it's going to cost a lot of money to do the Connor Road repair so people can use it for, I don't know, 2 to 5 years, whatever it's going to take to get the other bridge replaced. It just seems to me that if you want to, you know, in Alaska, they put temporary bridges up where I moved from. So I think that's a good possibility. It may be cheaper in the end.
Thanks, Virginia. And this is Heather. You know, this is something that as we move forward, I'm certainly interested in taking a look in, not just as a solution to our immediate problem, but something, the district one is covered with bridges like this up and down, and it might be something nice to have in our toolbox to build overall resilience. So I'm happy to pursue. I just want to put a heads up that we are at 10:58, so just a couple of minutes left. I don't know how you want to wrap this up, Brad, but folks, if community members wouldn't mind staying on for a few minutes after, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. So I guess, you know, as a wrap up, you know, sort of a plan of action. So I guess, you know, Kaika, maybe you can take a stab at what task you feel, you know, based on what you said, and then also, I think you heard some, you know, some potential other approaches to, you know, pursue in terms of looking at temporary bridges. And if we can help or other people can help, we can assign, I guess what I'd like to do is assign, you know, like, or identify specific tasks that we need to work on. And then so that we just have it identified, and then we can sort of check back with folks to see how how progress is being made on those various tasks. And then, yeah, any kind of assigned responsibility and accountability, just so that we can kind of stay on it and not just be reliant on whenever we get to it. I know people are busy, but I think the community would feel a lot more assured if we've identified the task and then we know that people are working on it, and then we can kind of see progress. So do you want to take a quick stab at what you think in terms of the things you heard in terms of moving forward?
Yeah, I think, one, regarding to temporary bridges is a forefront of the mind right now. So I will follow up, have our engineering division follow up on what we can do with temporary bridges within DPW, and see what our current regulations allow. And then hopefully I can get a response on that by the end of this month. Is that an acceptable timeline for this task?
Yeah, and then I think what we'll end up doing is we'll touch base with you in terms of that. And then Chad, if you have any insights, information on military bridges that are available, please send that to us so that we can get that to Ikaika and his staff.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Brad, the state already owns them, but I just want to make sure. So what I heard in this meeting, and I heard you say it was doing, is the first thing, the concern of the people was a road upgrade to Kana Road. The shoulder of the road being soft, there was water lines being breaking. So you're affirmative looking into the Kana Road situation to get an upgrade to the actual dirt road. That's a true statement, correct?
Correct.
Okay, second thing is we need to look at reinforcing the Kana Bridge. There was a suggestion with steel plates, but there's so many engineers on here, it's easy to reinforce that bridge. From a single deck wood bridge, we can reinforce that bridge to carry loads that are needed for emergency safety, and also the farmers of that area that are carrying their produce and their livelihood across that bridge. We just need to make sure it doesn't fail by increasing that load. Steel plates, double deck, I mean, it's a simple process to do. We just need to make that a priority. Is that a true statement?
As far as concern that design and actually going through the proper procedures that we are adhering to at the county, I'm not sure that's something we could pursue within that timeline. But I can field that question to our engineers in the engineering division and see that if that's something we can achieve here.
To raise it to right now a fire truck can't go across. So we need to make sure we can reinforce we need to reinforce the Kana Road Bridge, that we at least can get a fire truck across it if somebody's house is burning down. That is a need that needs to be done immediately. We cannot get a fully loaded water fire truck across that bridge. It's 6 tons, it's 12,000 pounds. It will not carry a fully loaded fire truck. So
what is the weight of a fully loaded fire truck?
I'm sorry?
What is the weight of a fully loaded fire truck? Is it above 15 tons?
It's above 15 tons, yes.
Well, at this time, yeah, you're correct. If the weight of it is above 15 tons, then that is correct. It would not be a safe load traversing across this bridge, because the posted weight limit is 15 tons.
And it's, the purpose isn't to try to talk it. It's just priorities. Road upgrade and seeing that we can get the bridge reinforced so that it's more usable, because we don't want that bridge to fail. And I think somebody posted a comment the last time a concrete truck came through there and busted through the decking. That's what broke it last time. So since that's the only bridge for Kana Road and there's farmers on there, we just need to make sure that that's a high priority. And then the third level of priority would be looking at uses of temporary bridges, because you've already outlaid that there are bridges. You're working on the bridge repair of the existing bridges there. The fourth priority then is looking at Kolikoli Bypass Road for Kolikoli Bridge, which is Old Mamalahoa Highway, which goes down through Kolikoli Beach Park, which a landslide covered years ago, and we haven't opened it up. That needs to be put on the list of things to get done prior to the start of work on the Kolikoli Bridge. But those are the 4 priorities I'm taking away from listening to everybody talk today. Road upgrade, make sure we stabilize the bridge that's available so that we can actually use it and not damage it. look at temporary bridges, and then look at the alternate route for Koli Bridge before work gets started. I'll stop there.
You know,
My 2 cents.
Go ahead.
Just a second. I just wanna say mahalo to Chad for summarizing those priorities as he heard them, and I'll also be working with Ikaika to follow up on some of this stuff in more detail and make sure that we agree on those priorities. I did want to we have Shari from Department of Water Supply. That is kind of a concern that I'm worried about with the trucks or vehicles going over the water lines. I know you're just coming new into this conversation. Is there anything you need us to provide you with as far as information for Department of Water Supply? Because I would also put that on the priority list. We don't want that to be inadvertently cut off as well. So if you have anything, Sherry, please share it.
Well, I just want to say that basically water supply just looks at where we have our existing water lines, and we don't have water lines that we take care of in that area per se, but we do have customers that are taking their private water lines, and that's the water lines that you're talking about, which is not really jurisdiction of our department to maintain. So it's really between, I guess, Public Works and the private landowners on how they're going to safely keep those water lines in place. But our concern is too that when they break, we lose water, and then that's our concern, that we'll be losing this water that doesn't need to be lost in the system. So we can't really comment regarding fire protection or anything like that, because we just maintain our water system, and we don't have water system right there in those particular areas.
Thank you so much for that clarification. That helps a lot, and I appreciate you being here today.
So I guess the question to Ikaika along those same lines, do you folks have the drawings noting where and how deep those private water lines, because they are in the right of way?
As far as right now, I have to go and ask my staff if we have those drawings available. I don't know at this time, so I can provide that an update on that by the end of this month, along with this temporary bridge pursuit.
Okay.
When do you think you'll be able to walk the road with the community members on the drainage for the road in limbo portion of Connor Road?
I don't have an answer for that this time. I think we gotta schedule that with our guys. So I can't give a time today as to when that's going to happen. But I would like to know who in the community, and schedule with our either our engineering division or our highways division or both, and have them get out there and take a look at it with you.
Yes, I'll provide you that information shortly.
Yeah, and I will help coordinate that, because I would like to go out there and get eyes on some of these locations and issues as well. So let's plan to coordinate that through my office. Thanks.
Yeah,
sure.
Does anybody else have anything? Tom, I know Tom was taking notes. You need clarification on anything at this point in time, or if anybody has anything else to add.
The only thing I'd like to add is, in my opinion, the priority should be on Kahana Iki Bridge, because if you put a temporary bridge across it, it alleviates all the other problems on Connor Road. So it's a much better long-term improvement. If you increase the capacity of Connor Bridge, then it's going to cause more trouble, as pointed out earlier, for the people along that paved portion of Connor Road. So I personally think the temporary bridge is more important.
But this problem is you still have the washout road that's not allowing traffic. And that can be discussed, but you do realize that if you have the bridge restored, you still have a problem with the road.
We're referring to Ahakini Bridge, not Koli. If you can pass through Ahakini Bridge, then you turn Mauka up Kawiki Homestead Road prior to the embankment failure.
let's,
So that is the most direct path.
let's take this portion of the conversation like offline for later until we have some answers about the whole temporary bridge thing, and if that's even remotely something we can do, because we could have a lot of discussions about where we should throw those temporary bridges. So let's take that off for later and kind of wrap ourselves up right now.
Okay, so I heard one other person in the background. Is it anything, any clarification or question that we have?
Brad, I think you heard me, and my question got answered.
Okay. All right. With that being said, I want to thank everyone that joined us, and in particular, Ikaika and your staff. And then I think we lost most of the other agency folks to meetings. So again, thank you. And we will definitely be following up with you and Heather. And so again, thank you everyone for that. Heather, do you want to stay on the line with the rest of the community folks that want to stay on?
Yeah, if the community folks will stay on for a few moments. Again, I will also reiterate what Brad said. Thank you so much, folks from the agencies, for being here today and providing us some real information. We appreciate it, and we'll be following up. And have a great rest of your day, and happy and safe weekend. Mahalo.
Okay, thanks a lot.